Hello. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, I hope you stick around. I'm back with the OsaSuna special of his bride and a new video format. Hope you like it. Before we get into the video, I just wanted to say something. I'm sorry for not uploading in over 2 weeks. My life is just getting crazy busy now. But I'll still upload some things just a bit slower. Now on to the warnings. My content is almost never censored, that goes for curse words, mentions of the sideways tango, etc. This video is mainly fluff with slight hints of angst because it's never a good story without a pinch of sadness. So without further ado, let the story begin. Welcome. This is the little OsaSuna special everyone has been waiting for. Warning. All of my stories contain no censoring with cursing, sexual scenes and other things too. Trigger warning. None really, just cute shit and some biting mentions of blood. All good? Let's go. Suna was relaxing on the sofa in the living room of his home when 𝕟𝕩𝕗𝕖𝕝𝕚 appeared out of nowhere. What the hell? He said, shocked from his sudden arrival. Hello. 𝕟𝕩𝕗𝕖𝕝𝕚 said in response with the most unamused tone. The other raised an eyebrow at him curiously. Why are you here? I'm here to propose an idea. An idea? This sparkled Suna's interest. What kind of idea, and what does it have to do with him? He sat back from his slouched position, his phone still in hand. And what's in it for me? Wanting to know if this proposal will have anything good that can come from it. I don't know, maybe being with the one you love for the rest of time? 𝕟𝕩𝕗𝕖𝕝𝕚 spoke in a more monotone way. The fox-like boy's eyes slightly widened from the words that came out the other's mouth. Being with the one I love? Is he really suggesting that? He was left in utter shock from that question. He knows that the man is talking about, and believe me when I say he's thought about doing it before, but the consequences of Osamu having to leave his brother behind was just too much. Are you suggesting what I think you are? Suna asked, wanting confirmation that is truly what 𝕟𝕩𝕗𝕖𝕝𝕚 was talking about. The ravenet nodded. Yes, I am. I want to be with Atsumu forever. I've lost him once and I don't want to lose him again. He spoke as his voice changed into a sadder tone when he thought about Atsumu's past death. Suna understood the feeling. He once lost the love of his life too. Flashback. It was over a year after Atsumu had been taken away to the Vampire King's palace. Everyone suspected he was dead, but Osamu didn't want to believe it. Osamu's hatred towards his own village grew and grew as he had to get used to his life without his brother. He hated that he was alone, he hated that he was powerless when it came to who was sacrificed. He wished so bad that he could have done something more to change his brother's fate, but it was all too late. During the first few months after Atsumu was gone, the younger twin tried to sneak away from the village to try and make his way to the palace, in hope of seeing his brother there. But his efforts were futile. He couldn't make it far into the woods without getting lost. Even if he would follow the trail the wagon took, he would always end up getting turned around. One day, he was hopelessly lost. Marking the trees to help him navigate didn't work, trying to find small landmarks didn't help either. He was looking around, trying to find his way back, but it was hopeless. He was totally lost. The realization and the panic start to kick in as his head swiveled around, still pleading for a way out. He debated on running in a random direction or just staying put, but the sun was setting and the sky was getting darker by the minute. Osamu knew if he stayed in the forest any longer, he would be a dead man. Taking a deep breath, he decided to run in a random direction, hoping and praying that he would find his way back to the village. As prepared to take a step toward when a rustling sound in the trees and the feeling of eyes on him caught his attention. He froze in place, his heartbeat quickening as he feared the worst. I'm going to die, aren't I? Osamu gulped as his body began to shake, terrified to the core when a figure slipped out of the tree. "You lost?" The stranger spoke as the gray-haired twin's eyes shot up to look at the male, who was hanging of a branch upside down by his legs. Osamu didn't say anything as he stared up at the other, his fear still prominent. The stranger let out a sigh before asking again. "Are you lost?" He shakily nodded his head yes. "Are you from the village south of here?" Osamu nodded once again. "Ah, okay." The male soon let go of the branch, flipping himself around, letting him land on his feet. "It's in this direction." He pointed towards the direction that seems to be where the town is. Why are you telling me this?" the gray-haired boy asked, still scared he's facing his death. "You said you're lost, correct? So I'm showing you the way back." Osamu raised an eyebrow at his answer. "You're not going to kill me?" The stranger just stared at him for a minute before letting out a short yet sweet laugh. "Kill you? Why would you think that?" "Because it's dark and you're obviously not human, so I just thought." "Ah, because you see all vampires as dangerous?" He nods slowly, avoiding the other's piercing gaze. "Yeah, that's what everyone is told anyways." "Well, I promise I won't hurt you. I have no interest in killing humans. It's boring if you ask me." "Really? But don't you need to drink blood to survive?" "Yes, but that's not for you to worry about. Come on, it's this way." The stranger begins walking in the direction he said before with his hands in his pockets. Osamu hesitantly began to follow him, still petrified that this man could possibly kill him and no one would know. They walked for what seemed like forever until the lights of the village could be spotted from a distance. His nerves calmed when he realized this man was actually helping him. The stranger stopped a good 20 feet before the village's entrance. "We're here." Osamu sees that and nods, giving him a small thank you before making his way to the entrance. He paused before looking back to where the man was, only to find him nowhere to be found. A small sigh escaped his lips before he continued on his way to his own home. Once he returned home, falling asleep soundly in his quiet room. And from that night forward Osamu's life changed. He had someone there for him now. A vampire named 𝕟𝕩𝕗𝕒. Someone who made his life not so lonely anymore, someone who he could love even though it wasn't allowed. And on Osamu's deathbed, after he's been fighting an unknown disease that just made an outbreak in their country, 𝕟𝕩𝕗 made a promise to him. "I'll find you again and again, no matter what." Letting Osamu pass away with a smile on his face, as his vampire lover held his hand as a single tear trickled down his face. Flashback end. 𝕟𝕩𝕗 let out a small sigh. "Wow, you really love him." "Of course I do." The phone addict stared up at 𝕟𝕗𝕗 with slight amusement in his eyes. "So when do we do this? You're on board with the plan?" "Yeah. I've been meaning to ask Osamu, so this is perfect." The curly-haired male nodded and began discussing the plan with him. "Great, so this is what I'm thinking." After 𝕟𝕗𝕗 discussed his plan, he left to go take Atsumu on a date while 𝕟𝕩𝕗 just remained in his living room, knowing well that Osamu would come over soon. Just like it was on cue, a silvered-haired boy walked into the house without knocking, like it was his own home. "Rin, I'm here," he said as he walked over to the living room, peeking his head in to see his BF, laying down and on his phone as always. Osamu recently regained his memories from his past life just like his twin brother. It was the same day as Atsumu, just earlier when 𝕟𝕩𝕗 kissed him that morning. Even though his mind was flooded with old memories, he did his best to play it off and question his crush later. To which he found out during lunchtime before Atsumu came find them. Now they're happily together once more. It would be even better if that could be for eternity. Osamu walked over to 𝕟𝕩𝕗 and plopped down on top of him, earning a groan in response. Suna glanced away from his phone, looking at his boyfriend who's staring back at him with a small pout on his face. He let out a small stifled laugh before reaching a hand out to caress the other's cheek, making him blush. Still cute as ever. Suna spoke as he slowly sat up, placing his phone to the side. Changing the position they were in to something more comfortable, with Osamu sitting on Suna's lap facing him as the taller's hands rested on his waist. What you think Sakusa has planned on his date with Tsumu? The sliver-haired boy asked, to which the latter shrugged slightly. He's planned something really special for him. Osamu raised an eyebrow. Really? Seems suspicious. He pressed his lips in a fine line. Even though he said he approved of his older brother's relationship with Sakusa, he still feels scared that one day he might lose him again. Just like that horrible morning as the wagon, who held his brother inside, disappeared in the distance. As he saw his brother disappear from his life, all for the sake of please some king. He still feared that one day Sakusa will take him away, either be it from harming him or leaving with him. Suna rolled his eyes slightly as he flicked Osamu's forehead softly. Why'd you do that? Cause you need to stop worrying about him. He's my brother. I know, but he can look after himself every once in a while. Osamu let out a loud sigh, slouching his shoulders forward in defeat. Fine, I'll try not to worry. He spoke in a defeated tone as he rested his head in the crook of his lover's neck. He's gonna be okay. Suna spoke, to which a small grumble was earned. The other let out a small laugh before snaking his hands underneath Osamu's shirt. His cold hands making the grey-haired boy shiver at the touch. Rin, what are you doing? Suna just hummed in response as he continues to trail his hands on his back, tracing his muscles as he made his way up, knowing how to make this feel good for Osamu. The boy let out light moans in pleasure, his lover knowing all his good spots to make him feel good. Rin. Stop. He spoke in a low tone in between the soft moans escaping his lips. Rin's hands paused, letting his hands rest under his shirt. Osamu sat up, looking at the vampire with a flushed face, to which Suna smirked at him in return. His piercing hazel eyes staring into the twins' grey ones. Leaning closer to the other as their lips touch in a sweet kiss. One of Suna's hands slipped out of his boyfriend's shirt to caress the back of Osamu's neck, pulling him deeper into the kiss. The grey-haired boy hummed softly into the kiss as Suna nibbled on the other's bottom lip. Osamu reluctantly opened his mouth as his lover's tongue entered, exploring the wet cavern. They continued to make out for a bit before Suna pulled away while resting their foreheads together, staring deeply into each other's as they catches their breaths. Fuck, I love you so much. Suna spoke in between his pants for air. Osamu let out a light aired-out chuckled at the other's statement. Love you too, Rin. He spoke with a small smile. After that they went into their regular routine when the grey-haired boy comes over. It normally consists of them cuddling, kissing every once in a while, other more explicit things, but only when Suna is more in the mood to ravish on Osamu's sweet skin. Now they are in their personal favorite cuddle position. Suna laying down almost completely with his back propped up slightly against the sofa pillows. And the younger twin laying on top of him, his face laying on Suna's chest with their legs entangled together. Osamu silently listening to Suna's breathing as he stayed focused, doing whatever on his phone. This was their perfect. Them quietly enjoying each other's presence in the silence of the home. It remained quiet until Osamu let out a small sigh, to which the other looked at him raising an eyebrow. Something wrong? I'm just thinking about life, you know. Osamu sat up to where he's sitting down on his boyfriend's lap, who remained laying down. We'll get separated again when I die in this life. Suna could tell where this was going, but there wasn't a way that he could be against it. So Rin, I want you to turn me. He spoke with a serious look on his face. Rin Tarao stared into the other's eyes with an unfazed look. Osamu gulped, getting slightly nervous under his gaze. The room remained quiet until a soft chuckle came out. Suna was laughing lightly at the other's seriousness. "What's so funny? I'm being serious, you prick." The brunette just sits up, pulling Osamu's body closer to him. "Have you thought this through?" he asked, and the other nodded in response. "Yeah, I want you to turn me. What about Atsumu? I'ma ask Sakusa if he can do the same. I'm sure Tsumu will accept it." Suna once again let out a small chuckle. "Why do you keep lying?" Double quote. The other just shook his head with a slight smile. "Just Sakusa came here earlier to ask me if I can turn you so he can do the same with Atsumu." Osamu went quiet for a bit. "Really? He asked you that?" Suna nodded in response to the boy. "Then it works out." The gray-haired twin spoke a bit happily. "I'll get to spend the rest of eternity with you and my brother." "Yeah, I guess it does." Suna quickly pulled him into a kiss, his own blood transferring into the other's mouth as he hummed into the kiss. The twin swallowed the unknown substance he felt in his mouth, accepting the fact that he'll be losing his mortality. After the kiss, Osamu was flushed red as his head began to feel dizzy. He slumped forward onto the vampire's shoulder, his mind going blank and him slipping into sleep. Suna held Osamu close, making sure he'll be okay once, or if he wakes up. He woke up hours later in the arms on his boyfriend, happy he can finally be with him forever. Suna looking at him with love in his eyes. "Morning sleepyhead, you feeling okay?" The other nodded slowly and he yawned, getting a kiss placed on his temple. "I love you." The brunette spoke in a soft voice and he caresses Osamu's cheek. "I love you too." He smiled softly at him in return, placing a sweet kiss onto Suna's lips. "And I can't wait to spend forever with you." The end.